Morning, everybody. How we doing? We can sit up. We can enjoy ourselves. It's Friday. It's sunny outside. It's nearly the weekend. And United can't ruin our weekend until Sunday around about 4 p.m. They won't. Maybe they won't. We'll speak about the Brighton game a little bit later. We'll run through the starting 11 as a community. We'll run through the team news. Looks like Luke Shaw's going to be missing. It looks like Luke Shaw's going to miss the final as well. Updates on Maguire, on Varane, on Lindelof, on Martinez. Plenty. We'll speak about Erik ten Hag's press conference and what he had to say. But the premise of today's show, you can see it from the title. You can see from everything here. Call it a transfer special. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation around the summer. A little conversation around Michael Olise. Around Jean-Claire Todibo. Around other transfer targets. Bruno Fernandes on his future. Joshua Zirkzee. I think it'll be a good conversation. You can let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I'll answer as many of your questions as I can throughout the show. And yeah, should be a good one. I'm in a good mood. Why not? Who's here from the mod gang? Let's have a quick look. We've got Klein, Wendy, and Ant. I can see you all there. Josh, you're there. T, you're always there as well. Alex, good morning to you. Wendy, did I say Wendy? Oh, double Wendy. Can't remember if I said Wendy. Teresa, good morning to you. Thomas, Akash. We've got Nars as well. I used to live with a guy called Nars. He was annoying as hell. I don't think that's you, but he was. Robert, Keith, Abiyomi, Ricky, Monty, and Walter. Good morning to all of you. Matt, Duncan, Nick, Osan, and Hassan on Facebook. Good morning to all of you. And good morning to I'm a potato. Out of context is so weird, but I get to play Gary Neville, so I'm really happy. Oh, shit! Oh! I saw somebody say Gary Neville acting like the 6-year-old at a wedding when the dance floor opens, and just he's there running like that. It's quite funny. I thought it was quite an apt caption. But good morning to everybody. I think it should be a good show today. Wow, good morning to you as well, Shax. Everyone's feeling sunny. You can feel the summer coming. There's actual sunshine outside. Not that I ever get to see it because I'm working too much.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
Indeed. The gong is getting a spanking this morning. But let's dive into the news. And of course, there's a couple of things I'd like to speak about around Manchester United. This is a cool one. Robin van Persie has now signed as Heerenveen's manager. Fabrizio Romano released that info, 5 minutes ago? Something like that. Come on. Keep you bang up to date with the news here on United People's TV. And I'm excited to see what he does there. Ruud van Nistelrooy with PSV. I can't actually remember why he left. But he had a successful first season. And then he's left. And is Van Nistelrooy in management yet? Well, again, since. Don't know. But this is Van Persie's first venture into management. Who would you say has been the most successful player to have played under Fergie to go into management? I'm trying to think about it off the top of my head. I probably should know the answer to this one. We've had quite a few failed managers. Who's been the most successful? Don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Van Persie does with Heerenveen. Maybe he can properly step up into management. Not everybody can. Roy Keane's been in there. Blanc's a shout. Ole. Well, it's a shout if you want to have it. Steve Bruce. I don't know who else. Mark Hughes. I don't really rate Mark Hughes as a manager. I actually don't know who it is. Maybe Michael Carrick. Not sure. I don't think there's an outstanding candidate, in my opinion, anyway. Anyway, Van Persie, congratulations to him, and I hope he does really, really well. And another bit of news, this is related to Manchester United, and I don't particularly think it changes much or anything, if I'm totally honest, because Ederson is fractured his eye socket after Romero decided to, it was just a clash. Romero was allowed to go for the ball, I'll be completely honest. He was allowed to go for the ball, but anyway, he's fractured his eye socket, and that means that Ederson's out of there. Last Premier League game of the weekend, and he's out of the FA Cup final. Now that might be something worth celebrating, but then Ortega played in the FA Cup final last time, and Ortega played when he came off the bench against Spurs, and was probably the reason they won the game. I don't think it's really going to weaken City, and that's what happens when you have a squad like City's. It's you can literally take any player out there. Maybe not literally every player, but the majority of players you can take out, replace them, and their backup is at least 75% as good as the first person. Or Ortega's going to make loads of mistakes and we're going to win the cup. I mean, I prefer that to be the case. But there's 115 reasons why their squad is that deep. I don't particularly think Ortega's a weakness. Quite a few of you are saying down there about Gordon Strachan being one of the best post-Fergie players. As a manager, anyway. Anyway, I want to move on to quickly have a conversation about this. About the youth. Just a little... I think I'm more excited about the prospect of breakthroughs at this team now than I think I ever have been. I remember watching United when James Wilson was there and my poor shout. I remember watching when Will Keane was there, when we won the FA Youth Cup. That FA Youth Cup team had I think it had Tunnicliffe in midfield. Was it Ben Pearson was in that team as well? Or was that a little bit later? And we had Paul Popper was in there. Jesse Lingard was in there. And we had quite a few players who were exciting. Some broke through, but not all did. And the environment, I don't think, was the best for it. I'll be totally honest. However, the environment now, and if you watch the under-18s this season, the under-18s very much have played in a Ten Hag blueprint. You've watched them. And I'm not saying... River Morrison, of course, was in that team too. I'm not saying that the reason that the under-18s have done what they've done this season because of Ten Hag, because it's not. It's down to Adam Lawrence, who's coached the under-18s. But it really does look like Erik Ten Hag has had a conversation with Adam Lawrence and said, these are the sorts of principles that I want to bring into the first team environment, and sort of I'd like the younger teams to be playing with these sorts of principles in mind. And I think Adam Lawrence has coached that brilliantly into these players. You've got Eli Harrison on the left there, who he's holding the Premier League North trophy, but he was also named the Reserve Player of the Year. He's 18, but he's actually played a lot with the under-21s as well. In terms of goalkeepers, everyone's upset that Kovar went to Bayer Leverkusen and we signed Onana. I think with Harrison, who's 18 now, 18. What's the youngest goalkeeper in the Premier League? Was it James Trafford at Burnley? I kind of think like it probably was. Obviously, he got relegated and they conceded an absolute ton of chances. Harry, there's some criminal hairstyles, man. Curtains are coming back. Are they? I don't know. Anybody ever have curtains when they were younger? I didn't. I had like a quiff. It was like Lynx Africa and like hair gel that was rock solid. And I had a little quiff you could ski off. I got 0, ladies. Unsurprisingly. But that's Eli Harrison on the left there, the goalkeeper. In the middle, that's Finlay McAllister. And I'm really interested to see what happens with Finlay McAllister. Because if you watch him as a midfielder, he's extremely, extremely vocal. That's probably one thing you would say about Finlay McAllister on the pitch, communication-wise. He's always speaking. He's always got his head on a swivel. He's always organising his team, as a captain should. And he has an aggressive style of play. Not overly aggressive, but not afraid of any 50-50. I'm excited to see it. Hopefully he goes in the pre-season. And if you look at the overhaul we're going to be having this summer, right? Casemiro could and should be leaving. Eriksen could and should be leaving. Scott McTominay, I don't think United will push out the door. I think I could see Scott McTominay playing for another season. And nobody's saying he's going to be a new Roy Keane, man. No chance. No one's going to be a new Roy Keane. I hate that. Not the new anything. He's the first Finlay McAllister. But he's United through and through. Goes to home and away games. United's under-18s captain in a season when they won the Premier League North, the Premier League National for the first time, and the Premier League Cup. I think he should be on the plane for the pre-season. I'll be excited to see how he does, because I could see him having a squad position as a midfielder next season and actually doing a very good job there. And then you've got, I think that's Louis Jackson on the right-hand side, who was centre-back for Manchester United this season as well. I believe he's been on the bench once or twice. I think so. I suppose it'll be interesting to see what Erik Ten Hag does. I suppose because on the last day of the season we played Brighton and technically we could finish 7th and get European football if we better Newcastle. I'll speak about the game a little bit later on. But yeah, The youth. I'm excited to see what happens next season. And then you look at sort of what's happening this season, or I suppose what has happened over the last couple of seasons. Garnacho winning the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award in 2021. Kobbie Mainoo in 2022. And both of them now have established themselves as first-team stars at Manchester United. And Ethan Wheatley has won it this season, which is a real testament to the development he had in the second half of this season was huge. Like, first half of the season, when the under-18s were absolutely stonking, I wouldn't really have put him down as one of the most important players. Whereas the second half of the season, he absolutely was. And he's now made his debut. He's come on at, two or three times? I'm looking forward to seeing what Wheatley does. And let's be honest, we need a striker. We absolutely need a striker, but I'm not sure. The striker, this is just my personal opinion, I don't think the striker that we need is a young, up-and-coming striker. I think what Højlund needs is some experience. Somebody that he can lean on. Whereas Ethan Wheatley would probably be leaning on Rasmus Højlund. That's what I think anyway. Wheatley has my hair, says Akash. It's good for you. It's not got my hair. People down there saying I had links Atlantis. I was not like Simon from the In-Betweeners. Did love the In-Betweeners though. In-Betweeners came out when I was at school. Man, what a show. What a show. And you know what's good? You know what's mad, right? And I think this kind of gets overlooked. Right? Alejandro Garnacho has broken through into the first team. Alejandro Garnacho has started, I think, like 36 consecutive games for Manchester United. And Alejandro Garnacho's a dad. Like the achievements for as a 19-year-old are just mind-boggling, really. What was I doing at 19? I went to Thailand for a month, I think. When did I go uni? I took a gap year. I had a gap year. I said gap year. I was working in a call centre. Did I go? I think I was 19 when I went to uni. I can't remember. Anyway, like it's you think about Alejandro Garnacho as a youth player, because he is a youth player. He's 19, but he's had a full season under him with 36 consecutive appearances, and he's a dad. As far as 19-year-olds go, it's pretty damn mature. And I really like this photo as well. Kobbie Mainoo sitting there gobbling some Tangfastics watching United with a little scarf on. It's just, the youth is what will always drive this club forward. And the youth is in the strongest position it has been in a long time. And some of the young players we've got in this first team. And look at the 3 goal scorers that we had against Newcastle. Kobbie Mainoo. And Ahmad. Who scored the third one? I hate when you have brain farts like this. Ahmad scored the second. Højlund scored the third. They got it in the end. Got there in the end. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, we can move on now to talk about transfers, which is the main part of today's show. Actually, I'll read some of your questions out in comments. Jonathan sent, I think Forson and Bennett and Gore will go on loan next season. I feel really sorry for Gore. I was excited to see what he could do on loan at Port Vale. Not worked out whatsoever for Dan Gore. I think he's got quite a big injury, actually. Zenster with a question. Well, I'm surprised you need an answer to this. How come there's so much talk about bargain basement signings when we were the second richest club in the world? Doesn't matter how rich you are as a club. It matters how sustainable your bottom line is. Man United have been overspending. Spending cash when we haven't been bringing the cash in. We've been spending money on credit cards. And all of this has combined to a point where we're teetering on the edge. And it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing that the club, the most valuable club in the world, with revenues north of 600 million, we shouldn't ever struggle to make signings. It shouldn't be an issue. But the Glazers have run this club into the ground. They have not cared at all about Manchester United and sustainability of our future. They have just cared about their own cash and what they've got. It's why we're in this position, and it's why Ineos are going to have. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get rid of it, to get back to where we should be. I think we will get there, but it's going to take some time. Anyway, the opposite of bargain basement signings is probably Michael Olise. Let's have a conversation around him, okay? My lunchtime video today is going to be on the Olise story because I think it's certainly developed after Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United have, look, this isn't like Man United are in talks with Olise and we're going to sign him straight away. This is Manchester United opening the door. This is us making initial contact with Olise's camp. And I'm not surprised about it. I've seen quite a few people saying this in the comments this morning, and it kind of sounds like me, right? It kind of sounds like me. Do you not think the signing Olise would stunt Ahmad's growth? And I'll be like, speaking from experience here, people, let's not think too much like that. I just completed the poll randomly. Have you liked the video? I thought I might put that up every day. You can't look. See, this is the thing, right? You can't look in any position as a Manchester United fan, I think anyway. In fact, I'll ask you, do you think there's any position where we've got two players and you go, solid? Because what you need as an elite level football club is two top quality players in every position. And I think you could probably, I know, don't get into an argument about Marcus Rashford and his form this season. Marcus Rashford and Garnacho on the left-hand side, I think you're pretty set. Depending on whether Marcus Rashford leaves this summer and Manchester United sign one in. As it stands, we're all right in that position. If I'm looking at goalkeepers, maybe we're all right. Onana and Bayindir, probably. I think that's all right. Left back, absolutely not. Centre backs, absolutely not. Right back, I mean, maybe, but you're stretching it. Stretching it, I think. Maybe a right back. Central defensive midfield, absolutely not. Central midfield, absolutely not. Maybe in the attacking midfield position with Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount, I think you're right there. But you see, it is wafer thin. You need two top quality players in every position. Now, Ant, you just put it down there about priorities, and I think that's a fair point. Priority for me this summer, first and foremost, is a centre-back. Is a centre-back. But Michael Olise is an interesting one. And that's why I'm going to do my lunchtime video on him today. Because whether or not, it's not really whether or not you are, we all are concerned about his injury problems this season. His output has been phenomenal. It really has, in terms of shot-creating actions, in terms of goals per 90, in terms of... He is a very, very, very good creator in the Premier League. And nobody can pretend those numbers aren't there. Age profile's correct. He would come into it. He would be able to play centrally. He'd be able to play on the left. The fear would be around injuries, and a problem would probably be the price. Because I've spoken about signings this summer. And I personally don't think that Man United are going to honestly sign a player north of 50 mil, 50, 55 mil. And with Olise, you're hearing whispers that I'll run through more detail in my lunchtime video, but David Ornstein saying that this release clause isn't quite what it seems. It's far more complicated than just a simple, this is the price, you pay it, you get him. I'm going to read some of your comments out down here. A fool named Huggy. We need centre-backs and DMs, sort the defence out first, stop the shots, then start on the attack next summer. I think both can't be completely addressed this summer, but both should be addressed this summer. We should be signing defenders, midfielders, and attackers. We should be signing players in every position. But if I'm going to prioritise, I'm going to say centre-back and defensive midfield first. I agree with that. I agree with you all down there. But yeah, to try and suggest that we shouldn't sign Olise because we've got Ahmad, you either want to win the Premier League or you don't. If you want to win the Premier League, you don't just look at Ahmad and go, well, that's enough. You need more. You need Anthony gone, and you need Olise to come in, and then all of a sudden you've got Garnacho and Rashford on the left, and you've got Olise and Ahmad on the right, and bearing in mind that they can all chop and change as well. Bueno. That's a big improvement. Now, something with Olise which I think is very interesting, right? And it also brings Todibo into this conversation. What do you think it is? Get it in the comments, because something happened yesterday that I think really, honestly, could help Manchester United this summer. And we need a little bit of help where we can get it. Vicky's saying, Sam, do you worry about picking more chance players? More chance players is picking more chance players is going to affect Horden's service. Well, that's what Olise would be good at. Chance creation for the striker. He's somebody who gets the ball in the box. He's somebody who crosses. He's somebody who's naturally, he looks to create for people rather than someone like Garnacho or Rashford, whose first instinct is to score themselves. Now, Matt, you got it down there. Pablo, you got it as well. Liam, you got it too. But this is a really interesting one, for me anyway. Because neither Michael Olise or Jean-Claire Todibo are going to the Euros. And that really helps United. That really, really does. Because I'm not sure if you were the same, but I was looking at my dates for this summer when it comes to signings, right? I thought, well, we've got City on the 25th. So technically from the 26th of May to the 14th of June, that's when the Euros start. I'm thinking that's when United have really got to get their business done. We've got to get it done nice and early. I mean, I still want us to get it done early, but the fact that Todibo, Alex, you just sent a super chat about it as well. The fact that Todibo is not going to the Euros, the fact that Olise is not going to the Euros, it gives us a bit of an advantage when it comes to the negotiations, because it means that Jason Wilcox and Jean-Claude Blanc and, well, Omar Barani, when he comes in on the 13th of July, can negotiate with players, with their camps, without ruffling any feathers at the Euros, and just kind of get it done. So I would say there is a chance that we could maybe complete signings during the Euros then. I think that's a really, really good positive thing. And on top of that as well, I thought this was quite interesting. 2 more players who have been... Now, look, I've got my... I'm not going to pull my whiteboard up yet. I've upgraded the whiteboard, by the way. We're going to have a little bit of... I wouldn't say a reliability scale, but I said like credibility scale, with different colours to sort of help you understand, well, which players might we actually sign, given that we linked with I've got like 54 names on the board so far. But both Xerxes and Mats Vifa, I still don't know. Anyway, Vifa, I'm going to go for, who plays for Feyenoord, the defensive midfielder. He's not going, and neither is Xerxes, which is kind of a surprise. It's like Weghorst is in there instead of Xerxes. I think Weghorst has had a bit of a well, I think he scored a couple of goals for the Netherlands, but that's a little bit. Well, Xerxes had a good season. I'm surprised he's not going. But the point here is this: that is Xerxes, Vifa, Todibo, and Olise. Mats. Can I just call him Mats? All right. Mats, Xerxes, Todibo, and Olise. None of them are going to the Euros. And I would say, honestly, I think Todibo is going to be one of our main targets this summer. Olise is going to be one of our main targets this summer. If we're looking at bringing in a striker, Xerxes should be on our list. And Mats is one of multiple central midfielders. It might not be him. It might not be Hjulmand. It might not be... It could be anybody. I have no idea, really, about the central midfielder. But it's good that none of these are going to the Euros. It gives United more time. And this summer, time is going to be one of our biggest constraints. Like getting stuff done between the end of the season and the start of the Euros. Then when the Euros are finished, you've got what? Euros finish on July the 14th, thereabouts. And the season starts, I think, on August the 12th, thereabouts. So it's about a month after there. But then in between those, you've got the pre-season. You want to get players in before the pre-season. It's a lot. Tyron is saying, why can't we go after Artem Dovbyk? I've already done a video on him. I've spoken about him previously. I believe his release clause is 40 million euros, which actually ties perfectly into this conversation here. Because Xerxes has got a release clause with Bologna, and it was supposed to be just for Bayern Munich. But reports now coming out of Italy saying that this release clause, which is 40 million, is now said to apply for all the clubs that want to sign him, and that Bayern Munich just have the first option. So that means that anybody can come in, and it sounds like Xerxes has got a 40 million euros release clause. And then if Bayern Munich want to sign him, then they can match that offer. And if they do match the offer, they have the first option. But yeah, and you've got it down there in the comments as well. Nico Williams has got a release clause of 43 million euros. And when you're looking at Michael Olise and you're looking at Nico Williams and you're comparing them, you're looking at two very, very, very good creators. With Olise, you're looking at Premier League experience. It maybe comes with a little bit less risk, but also comes with the risk of his hamstring. It's going to be an exciting summer. And I'll be honest, this summer, like last summer when we were looking at Harry Kane. I'm trying to think of who we were looking at last summer. Harry Kane was the big one. Who else was it? I've forgotten. Who else was the big price one? Don't know. Can't remember. Anyway, it feels like this summer there's going to be a lot of players kind of more reasonably priced. And as somebody who's left in Declan Rice, that was definitely one. Kim Min-jae was available for a very fair price. I think, was it 50 million? Thereabouts, and we overlooked him. And, well, he's not going to have the most incredible season at Bayern Munich, but he certainly could have helped Manchester United. I think this is probably going to have more of an impact than I think people realise, in a positive way. Giving United more time to negotiate. Less time for distractions. I think, well, the French squad is so ridiculously strong. That the fact that, look at the players they're leaving out. Olise, Gusto, Todibo, Disasi, has he had that good a season at Chelsea? I don't really know. Quite a few players that they're able to leave out. I don't know. I'm not sold, right? I think we had a conversation about this before, right? As a percentage, how much confidence do we have that United will get it done this summer? I think we were all around about the kind of 50-50 mark. I'm still in that camp. But something that will change it, and will change it for a lot of people, right? Ineos are very much, they have to prove themselves to United fans to gain their trust, rather than gaining the trust straight away. That was the case when they came in. And in my opinion, well, they certainly gained some of my trust in how quickly they operated in everything to do with the Omar Barada stuff that came out of nowhere, Richard Arnold leaving, John Murtough leaving, Jean-Claude Blanc now coming in, Jason Wilcox stuff, the Dan Ashworth stuff. I think in terms of the structure of the club, they've gone heavy and they've gone hard, and they've gone quite quick. It's slowed down around Dan Ashworth, but I don't think that's particularly their fault. They're stuck in some sort of arbitration, which apparently should be happening in May, by the way. So we should hear at some point an update on that. But what United fans want to see, whether it's Olise, whether it's somebody else, United fans want to see quick movement. And as well as anything to do with signings, it's sales as well. Right? That's hugely important. Yeah, and some of you might fairly argue, by the way, that's actually the biggest priority. Get rid of some players as soon as you possibly can, and then some. Or you should be able to do both at the same time, right? You should absolutely be able to negotiate exits at the same time as negotiating signings. Man United previously, it almost felt like we could. I haven't got the mind space to discuss more than one deal at once. All right, let me just get this transfer done, and we can move on to the next one. Whereas in reality, you need to speak to everybody and everything. Olise is definitely a target for Manchester United. Whether you think he's the right target, that's up for debate. Whether you think he's the best target for that position, it's up for debate. Whether you think he's the priority, it's up for debate. But what Fabrizio Romano has revealed there, and which we've always known really, over the last month or so, you've seen it just getting more and more likely. Olise is definitely on the list of Manchester United targets. And there's real, genuine interest in signing him this summer. Whether it happens, we'll find out. Mark saying, what happens to Anthony? I absolutely want Anthony to be sold this summer. I think the Muppeteers were saying there was like tentative interest from a French team. If Anthony goes, that's completely on Ineos taking control of that and saying we need to get rid of him, because I don't think Ten Hag will push him out the door, and I think Ten Hag's going to be here for the start of next season. Jordan, thanks for gifting a membership there, and he sent a super chat too saying what position is first in your mind? It's easy. Centre back. I don't even think it's a debate. I really, really don't. I think you can possibly debate about the central midfield position. I think you could have a little bit of an argument about those two if you want. But for me, it's a centre-back. Like, quite easily, it's a centre-back number one. And Todibo is definitely going to be towards the top of that list. And it's not just because, Todibo and Nice, that's the only reason. We were interested in Todibo last summer. You know, when Maguire was going to go West Ham, we were linked with Todibo, Tapsoba, and Pavard. Pavard was a weird one. There's going to be loads of centre-backs. Lenny Yoro being thrown in there. I'd rather sign... Who else say down there? Branthwaite's name is getting thrown about. Centre-back. It has to be a centre-back. Whether that means that they're going to be signing players in that order, I don't know. But as long as the budget is there for all of it. Look, Jason, you're down there saying, nah, left back first. Nah, man. No way. I don't care what anybody argues down there in the comments. There's no way that you can put anything ahead of a centre-back being the priority. Now, you might say, Sam, we haven't had a left back all season. Fair. Still wouldn't be a priority for me. Maybe there's a little bit of an argument, a debate about left back. And we'll speak about Luke Shaw in a little bit. Man United are going to be signing a new left back. And I actually don't really know what type of left back we're going to be signing. Because previously, because it's a really difficult thing, I think. Put it in the comments here. What type of left back do you think we'll sign? Because you can go, experience, someone like in the 28, 29 range, someone young and up and coming, someone in the 19, 20 range, someone in the middle is a little bit random. But it's a really strange position for the squad. Because you've got Luke Shaw, who's 29? Not going to get any better. Injuries, problems. I think next season might be the last at Manchester United for Luke Shaw. It's kind of what I think. I don't think he'll go this summer, though. And then you've got Tyrell Malacia, who's 21? How old is Malacia? I think he's 21. How is Tyrell Malacia 24? Nah, it's got to be wrong. He's 24. Made a dude look 16. Nah, I don't believe that. Google's lying. Anyway, apparently Malacia is 24. I didn't know that. Also, I think he's alive. Not quite sure. But the question for me is, you know how I'm speaking about, don't sign Olise because it will block the progress of Ahmad. I think if we're going to go for a young signing, then that's kind of pointless. I would say, well, if we're going to go young, I would give Harry Amas the opportunity. So previously I was speaking about, I think it was Patrick Dorgu from Lens? Where does he play? Lecce. Previously speaking about him, but he's 19, right? So if he comes in, then that just completely blocks Amas. So I'm thinking, if it's young, then I think it should be Harry Amas. But then if it's old, how old do you go? When you've basically got a left back at every sort of age bracket. You've got Luke Shaw, who's 29-ish, Malacia, who apparently is 24, and then you've got Harry Amas, who's 18. So you have to choose where you're going to be placing your bets, really. I think it's going to be it's going to be an interesting one to see who we go for. At this moment in time, we're getting tentatively linked with different left backs. I'll cover it all in the... So the transfer show is going to kick off on Tuesday, I think. Monday or Tuesday. Haven't quite decided. And you might see there's going to be a new little lick of paint. Maybe some new thumbnails. Maybe some new overlays. I don't know. Just hearing some whispers. But yeah, we're definitely going to be getting a left back. Just don't know which one yet. And what age bracket. And this is the final little conversation here I want to have transfer-wise before we move on to speak about Brighton. All right? Actually, I'll read some of your comments out. Let's go down here first. Established left back will eat into the budget, says Alex. Yeah, my instinct is that we won't spend more than 15, 20 million on a left back. Malvern saying, are we already writing off Alvaro Fernandes? No, but he's being signed for 6 million by Benfica. So there's not really much point in speaking about that then. Man, I see he's 25 in August. I had no idea that dude is 25. Incredible. Tosin would be an excellent squad player. Yeah, I've spoken about him before, Gary. I think if you're looking at Varane leaving on a free, Tosin coming in on a free, Man United selling Lindelof for in the region of 5 to 10 million, and then signing someone like Todibo for in the region of 40 million, then basically for a net 30 million, you've replaced Varane and Lindelof with Tosin and Todibo, and you've saved wages. And you've now got 2 better centre-backs than you had before. It's like win, 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 win. That's how you build a squad. You need wins. There's a lot of wins to be had in the centre-back position. Would you keep Amrabat if it's just 15 mil, says Wassar? Man, I screamed for Amrabat. I didn't scream for him. I screamed for the profile of Amrabat. And I don't think he's been used in that position, in that profile, that often. Now we're starting to see why I was excited about him. What we've seen these last couple of games is what I expected to see from Amrabat. He's just not really had the opportunity. I don't know whether spending 15 million on him is the best use of money this summer now. I don't know. I think it's more than 10 mil. I think it was a 10 mil loan fee. I think there's a 20 mil obligation. Don't know whether that's euros or pounds. And I think there's add-ons on top of that. I think so anyway. And you're talking about Estepinian at Brighton. Hell no. What's that, like 50 mil? Minimum. Don't go anywhere near Brighton for a signing. Imagine if we tried to sign Evan Ferguson this summer. They get monies for players. Remember Caicedo last summer? Oh, that was another player we were linked with. Caicedo, there you go. What was it, like 120, 130 mil? I can't remember how much he went for. Jeez. Anyway, I want to speak about this. Okay. To find a little conversation I think we should probably need to have around Bruno Fernandes. And it's from David Ornstein saying this on 5 yesterday. It's saying Bruno Fernandes wants to stay at United, although his desire is conditional. It is subject to the club meeting his ambitions, showing him a vision that he thinks will be delivered, and some evidence that they will go where they say they want to. Now, first of all, I can't blame Bruno for saying that. Second of all, there's a few of you in the comments sort of speaking about the comparisons with Rooney. When Rooney questioned the ambition of the club. When Rooney questioned the ambition of the club in 2010, we had just come off the back, well, it's kind of in the middle of it, our most successful period as a football club. We then sold Ronaldo, and then we signed Owen, Obertan, and Antonio Valencia. Now, Antonio Valencia worked out as an incredible signing. But in terms of the levels of Ronaldo, we did not reinvest that money from Ronaldo. And that was the beginning of the downward spiral of our squad. So, was it Tevez sold that summer? Damn. So, Rooney had every right to question that. And I think Bruno has every right to question this now. You wonder whether any sort of promises have been broken to Bruno since he's joined. There must be some. And I think the ambition is really going to be met by Ineos. Genuinely, we actually have owners who, with the ambition of winning the Premier League, which is exactly what us fans want to do. Bruno wants to win, man. Remember when Roy... I used this in the sort of the Bruno video I did. I thought it was really strange to sort of say, Bruno hasn't won anything. Like, it's abundantly obvious. He wants to. Just because he hasn't doesn't mean he doesn't have the drive to do it. Everybody's a loser until they win. It's just that Bruno's been in an absolutely crap team. Yeah, Tony, you're putting it down there. I've said this before already. In hindsight, Rooney was right. And at that time, my opinion changed on Rooney for quite a few years. And then I don't know when it switched, but then I was like, you know what? I was way too harsh on Rooney for doing that with Fergie. Way too harsh. I think it was more the way he kind of went about it. Like, did Rooney question it in public? I can't remember. But I think Bruno's right here to question, because look at us. We're about to finish 7th or 8th in the league, ladies and gents. If you can't question the club's ambition at that point, you never can. So I think so anyway. But I don't think Bruno's going anywhere. And I think finally the ambitions of ambitious players are going to be met by the ambitions of our owners. And I'm just saying our owners, like, fuck the Glazers, man. They're not our owners. I know technically they hold the most power when it comes to shareholding, but they are nothing but majority silent owners. The Glazers will not have an input on any decision to do with this football club. They're not even going to have an input. They might sign the dotted line when it comes to Old Trafford and whether it gets redeveloped or whether a new stadium is built. They're not going to be involved in any conversations. There's a whole committee set up, the Old Trafford Task Force. Ratcliffe is leading that. The Glazers are majority shareholders and have the power of voting, but they are silent in terms of the decisions at our football club now. And I await the day where they aren't the majority shareholders. I still feel confident that that will happen in the first 3 years from Ratcliffe taking over. Now, remember, what was it? Was it February? I think February was when it started. Bear in mind, that's a mad thing to think. Obviously, we got the announcement on Christmas Eve. Bastards, I remember that. I was like, signing off for Christmas. Oh, you've announced. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, all right, fantastic. Although I did enjoy that stream. It was fun to do that stream before Christmas. So I think it was February when it actually got ratified and made official. And it's only May. Right? They've only been in literal control of the football operations since February. 3 months. I literally had to put my fingers out there. That's quite bad. Imagine what they can do in 3 years. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Of course, I'm the eternal optimist, and I will get let down on occasion. It is what it is. But look, let's wrap up the first part of the show. Let's go into the second part of the show. And second part of the show, we're going to be speaking about Brighton, injury news, predictions, starting 11. As always, you can get involved. Right. Some of you will be seeing an ad. I meant to do this last time. I forgot. Let's do a random quiz question while some people are being shown an ad. That's easy. That's easy. I should write down some questions, actually. That's easy. That's hard. That's way hard. I need to write it all down on one piece of paper. It's kind of annoying having to switch to the answers. Right. Who is the oldest player to play for Manchester United in the post-war period? There you go. Yeah, I do need to bring that interactive quiz. I might actually get some help from some mods or something like that because it takes a long time to set up. And if somebody sets up the quiz for me, I can run it during the show. Dennis! Yes, Dennis, you came in strong. Edwin van der Sar, 40. Age 40 in 2011. Quite a lot of you saying Giggs. It wasn't Giggs. It was Van der Sar. Well, that's what the trivia book says anyway. Well done. Anyway, look at that. Move on to the second part of the show. Brighton. It's not exactly been the best. When was this book written? Don't know. Anyway, it's not exactly been our best ground. What was it? It wasn't. Was it not last season? It wasn't last season. I think it was the season before when we played Brighton on the last day of the season and got pumped like 5-0. Apparently the book is wrong. Well, there you go. That was a grand old waste of a tenner. I think what I need to do is just keep a list of questions. I can have my quiz questions up here with the answers next to them. I'll do that. Sod that book. Anyway, Brighton. What was it like? I swear it was the last day of the season, like 2 seasons ago, and we got steamrolled. It was wasn't it like 4 or 5-0? I think it was. Anyway, Brighton team news. Luke Shaw, by the sounds of it, isn't going to be fit for the FA Cup final. Isn't going to be fit for Brighton, and very well, he could be missing the Euros too. I'd be very surprised if he gets taken to the Euros because he's hardly played in 3 months. That's random. I'll pull this news up a little bit later because this is going to be an interesting talking point. Man. Right. I can see quite a few of you down there telling me about Thomas Tuchel, and I'll be putting that up a little bit after we've had a conversation about the game this weekend, because that's more important, right? Anyway, Luke Shaw's not going to the Euros. He's hardly played a kick the ball for United this season. He's missed like 3 months. No. Monty saying, do you watch or support international football? I love international tournaments. The first 2 weeks where you get 3 games a day, the absolute chaos, going and watching like some of my favourite memories. Well, it's not some of my favourite memories of international football. I loved going to... I might even put a little bit of this clip up. I'm not sure if many or any of you have actually seen this video. This is one of my favourite ever videos. It's from when I used to work at Ball Street. Big up James, big up Flav. Where is it? Man, I love this video. Has anybody seen this? So basically, we got in a van. We got in a van with Vanarama, and we drove the whole way to Russia. Without tickets, by the way. This is part 2. Berlin to Kaliningrad. Oh, man. If you get the opportunity and you want to spend 10, 15 minutes of your time, go and watch these videos. I might actually watch it after this. It puts a big smile on my face, man. We drove the whole way there without tickets, and you can see what happened. I won't tell you, but legitimately, it's all completely real. Nothing in that video is made up. And if I told you the stories from that trip, you really wouldn't believe me. You really wouldn't believe me. But anyway, Ten Hag, by the way. I reckon Ten Hag has got like a darts board with like Arsenal's badge in it. Like, he really hates. I'm going to drop a link to the video down here, right? Okay, that's the video to this. That's part 2. If you go to part 1, watch that one first. Probably that's a better link to give you. I'm guessing they'll all pop up. Will they? Maybe not. I've even left a comment on there. Look, half the stuff that's happened on this trip sounds made up, but it all happened. Genuine madness. Now what a trip. God bless Saint Eagle. I'm watching that again. Anyway, if you type in like Vanarama road trip World Cup, you'll find the videos. That's just part 2. Anyway, yeah. I spoke about this for a little while. How annoyed I was, and how I felt that game really could have been a sort of a momentum shifter for United. If that goal, it was millimetres, man. It was millimetres. It was offside, Garnacho. And the decision could have gone the other way, and it would have been equally as much of an argument. And had that happened, we would have won, because I think we hadn't won away from home under 10. Our away record was grim. And that would have taken the 3 points off Arsenal, gave 3 points to us. Maybe it wouldn't have changed our season, but it could have certainly been a momentum shifter. And that absolutely is something that Ten Hag is still holding on to. In terms of VAR, he doesn't think that scrapping it's a good idea. I don't think it will get scrapped. In my opinion, I wouldn't mind seeing it scrapped. But I suppose they have kind of gone this far, right, that they're going to stick to it. But just, I hate what it's done to football. Like, I feel more disconnected with football. I think the fact that, look, I absolutely love what I'm doing, but I don't get the experience of going to a match anymore. And it's no slight on anybody who, if you can be in Singapore, you can be in Thailand, you can be in Germany, you can be in Bulgaria, you can be in Manchester. Everybody's got their own ways of supporting Man United, and I'm not belittling anything, but I do miss going to away games. I miss meeting up with mates, especially miss European trips. But I'm irresponsible. I'm so irresponsible on those trips. I'm like, bang, plane, bang, bang, bang. I get absolutely blasted, and I've got a job to do now. So I actually can't really trust myself on these trips. I might give myself the opportunity to do one next season. But I do miss them. I don't know what my point there was. But yeah, the match day experience of VAR is horrendous. Like, you're just standing there for like 3 minutes going, What's happening? Is a decision being made or not? If they bring in look, Joe, you put it down there. If they bring in the automatic or semi-automatic offsides, that'll make a big difference. Sure. There's still going to be a lot of those itsy-bitsy decisions where it's kind of down to interpretation. It completely is. Apparently, Edwin was the correct answer. Well, I'm going to pick my book up now because you made me throw it away. Never doubted it. Never doubted my book. You're all telling me I'm wrong. Why do I listen to YouTube comments? Anyway, this is the table, right? This is the last time that hopefully we have to look at this table. I suppose we've got to look at it on Monday after the season's finished. But that'll be the last time. It's the second to last time we have to look at this table. And Man United are playing for shit or more shit. We're playing for 8th or 7th place. We are finishing in 8th place if Newcastle beat Brentford. All right? Van der Sar was correct. He retired at 40 years and 8 months. Giggs retired at 40 years and 7 months. Look at you all. You fools. Run, you fools. Anyway, we're finishing in either 7th or 8th. The thing is that Erik ten Hag is going to want that 7th place because 7th does have Europa Conference football, which might be rubbish for the football, but I tell you what, I really hope you get it for the trips. From a selfish perspective, I'd love to get it for the trip that I could go on somewhere in like deep Bulgaria. I don't know, going to like the middle of Croatia somewhere to go and watch United play. Whoop, that would be great. But I can see the benefits of actually United not having any European football at all next season, so I won't be upset either way. I will be because we're not in the Champions League, but I'm not going to argue that 7th is that much better than 8th, and I'm not going to argue that 8th is that much worse than 7th. And remember, we got the FA Cup final, so if we do win that, then we're in the Europa League. JM, you're right down there. If we get conference and win it, we are the first team to win all 3. I think with Jose Mourinho, he was the first manager to win all 3, wasn't he? He loved that. I think you got a tattoo of it. Let's see. But the game this weekend, my lunchtime video today is going to be on Michael Olise because I think there's quite a lot to say about him, quite a lot to say about the reports and the rumours. I'm going to bring you completely up to date where all the credible sources. There's a bit of news from David Ornstein, which I haven't told you in this show, and I'll put that in there. But the game on Sunday, what changes are you making? What changes would you like to see? Casemiro's kept his place. I suppose he probably had his best performance as centre-back. He didn't really say much, but he kind of technically did. He made quite a few high-profile defensive clearances, stuff like that. Lissandro starting, hopefully, says someone down there. Nope, I don't disagree on that. I do not want him starting this game. I'll tell you what my starting 11 was, right? What did I do? I put... I think I kept Casemiro there. And I think I did. In fact, I think the only change I made was... this. Like... It doesn't matter to me what happens in this game. Personally, it doesn't matter. I know that technically it matters whether you finish 7th or 8th, but I don't care. I don't have the energy enough to argue that as a fan. But I want to see Garnacho rested. He started 36 games in a row, and for the last 4 or 5 games, Garnacho has played like a 19-year-old who's turned into a dad for the first time this season, who started 36 consecutive games. Just let that kid sit in a jacuzzi for 3-4 days. Just let him recover a bit. I know that when you're younger, you're going to be able to recover quicker, etc. But Garnacho, I want him crisp for the FA Cup final. So I would definitely just leave him out of this game altogether. Right? It's what I would like to see. Lightning is saying it's our last game before the final. Martinez needs to get 60 minutes. Maybe Martinez, I think in this game, it's either Martinez starts and comes off around about 45, 50 minutes, or Martinez comes on for the second half and plays 30, 40 minutes. I don't know which one Erik ten Hag will do. Technically, Maybe it's a little bit less intense if he comes on for the second half because Brighton players would have played a half, so technically would be less sharp. I don't really know. I would probably bring Martinez on for the second half, personally. I'm just so glad this season's about to be over. You know how happy I am about it. You know how sad that is that I'm genuinely just happy that United are going to be gone from the league. But vamos, that league is over. And we can just put it down to a bad memory like the Moyes season. Yeah, that's what I think so anyway. Now, I've got to quickly rattle through 2 talking points. 1 talking point, and then we'll bring up the map because we're getting up to the hour. I've been, these shows are getting longer. I think I'm just enjoying myself. Debbie, thanks for asking. How's my ankle doing? Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gents. My ankle's been naff. My ankle's been awful. It's been 3 months. I still can't walk properly. But from next week, the guns are coming out. We're starting hydrotherapy. We're starting physio. We're back in the gym. So I've got like 7 or 8 sessions next week. So we're getting whammo. We're not getting whammo, but hopefully I'll be able to actually walk properly. That's what I want. So from next week, it should start making a difference. But it's been a long old 3 months. I will tell ye that. This is interesting. Has there been a club of Bayern Munich's size that have ballsed up getting a manager more than Bayern Munich this summer? Who have they tried to sign? They tried to get Alonso. That didn't work. They tried to get Ragnick, and then Ragnick rejected them. So Alonso rejected them for Leverkusen, which I can understand. Ragnick rejected them for Austria, which really is, wow, Bayern Munich is in a bad state. I can't remember who else they went at. Like Ten Hag was getting linked. He's not going. They told Tuchel at the start of the season that he was leaving, and then there was reports yesterday that Tuchel may be staying, and then he's coming out saying, "Nah, man, I'm gone. Vamos." Who on earth is going to be Bayern Munich manager next season? Seriously, who is going to be Bayern Munich manager next season? I've got no idea. I have got no idea. There's a couple of super chats in there. I might have missed them. Let me read these out. Apologies, ladies and gents. Akash saying, what kind of fee makes you sell Anthony? I think in an ideal world, probably best case scenario for United is half of what we paid, which is what? 35 million? But I don't think anyone's paying that for Anthony. I think you sell him for somewhere around the 25 million mark with add-ons on top. If he actually goes on to do well at the club that he signs for, then it goes more towards the 35. Maybe even 40 if you're pushing it. But I don't think we're going to get what I think we would want to get. Steve saying UPTV Euro coach trip to an away game. Plus merch, Sam. Been waiting since Christmas. You've been waiting. I promise you I've been waiting too. More developments on that. More progress. I wanted to get it done by the end of the season. But big up Ronnie, who's kind of my right-hand man behind the scenes. He's been very busy these last few weeks. So merches, it will happen. I promise you. The merches, I'm more annoyed about it. I'm annoyed about promising things and then not delivering. But I will deliver. And it will be worth it. You can see one there. That's one of the Amad ones. I love that design. Yeah, and I think you're probably right. Anthony probably does get loaned with an option to buy. But I think we'd even be lucky to get 25 mil. De Zerbi to Gareth Southgate, Hansi Flick, Potter. I don't know. But Bayern Munich, woof. They are one of the biggest 5 clubs in the world, but their club is in a right shit state. It really is. Now look, let's finish the week. It's Matt Day, ladies and gents. Got a song for the background. Let me know where you're watching from. On the 1s and 2s. Fun fact, which none of you know about. I love to DJ, or maybe some of you do know about. Maybe I'll share some mixes with you before. Maybe I'll share some mixes at some point. Jason saying, can barely hear it. Yeah, no, I put it on slowly in the background. But where are you watching from, right? What country and what city? And I'll try and get a few of you added onto the map. Yeah, we've already got Chelmsford on. What have we got? We've got Der Janik watching from Wolfsburg in the Deutschland. Wolfsburg, Germany. On the map. 1. Let's get a couple more. Who's on Facebook? Let's get a couple from Facebook. We've got Chris watching from Scarborough. North Yorkshire. that Yorkshire accent? I think it was. Let's get one more from Facebook. We've got Daniel Mills watching from Uberlandia in Brazil. Right, that's on the map. And let's get one more from Facebook. Not Facebook. From YouTube. There we go. Jackson watching from Washington, D.C. El Capitan. I'd love to go Yellowstone at some point. Man, I've got more traveling to do. I've got a lot more traveling to do. But there's a lot more work to be done first. Ray, thank you very much, dude, to end the week with a little cheeky gift of 5 memberships. Big up to you, Ray. Path, you're down there saying Van Persie.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
You're saying Van Persie, coach of Heerenveen. Hey, you're late to the show, man. I was mentioning that at the start of the show. But big up to all of you. Have a cracking weekend. It's hot as hell in here. I need to take this off. Woo! Sunshine. Shame I never get to see it. But look, thank you all for a cracking week. I'll be here on Monday with a live show. I'll be here at lunchtime today with an Olise video. I might be here tomorrow with another video. Haven't quite decided. And I'll be here on Sunday for the game. Have a cracking weekend, everybody. Much love.